Happy Tuesday, everyone, live from Houston, Texas. Welcome to Stellar Parenting. I am your host, Brandi, and I'm so happy to have you here with me today. I am an intuitive astrologer, and I hold a Master of Science degree in psychology with an emphasis in child and adolescent development. And I'm super passionate about helping parents, teachers, and guardians learn how to mix the magic of the stars and the planets with the art of intentionally raising and guiding our children. Please join my Facebook group, Psychology Infused Astrology. There you'll find free training, and I'll also keep you up to date on my latest events. Okay, so for today, we've got a really fun show. I'm going to give you some astrological high points for the coming year for 2025, along with important dates of retrogrades and eclipses. And I promise you, you're not going to want to miss this. There's really important information. So buckle up, hang tight. Here we go. This upcoming year of 2025, it's really going to be a year of major shifts, okay? I'm talking major, not only within the collective, but also on an individual level. And why is this important for each of you? Why is it important? Well, it's really important that you have some understanding of what's going on in the cosmos, because one of these transits could be significantly impacting either an angle in your natal chart or one of your planets. And if one of these transiting planets is impacting your natal chart in that way, it could bring, unseen opportunity. It could bring some challenge. It can bring major transformation to your life, okay? So understanding this allows you to work with the energy. And then when you're working with the energy, you feel like you are in the driver's seat, and it's coming from a place of empowerment. Versus if you're not working with the energy, you might feel disempowered if it feels like your world has been turned upside down. So it's very important to work with the energy of the cosmos in a very intentional way. So I'm going to begin by just telling you about how the planetary transits are going to affect the whole world or the collective, okay? And what makes this upcoming year so dang remarkable is that all of the outer planets are going to shift into new signs. They are going to shift from feminine signs into masculine signs, okay? And when I'm talking about the outer planets, I'm talking about Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And these are called outer planets because they all orbit outside of the asteroid belt, okay? And they all represent bigger themes in our lives and bigger themes within generations. So I've talked quite a bit on this show about Pluto and Aquarius, but let's start off with the heavy hitter Pluto. So Pluto left Capricorn and moved into Aquarius on November 19th of this year. And Pluto will be in Aquarius until January of 2044. So Pluto stays in one sign anywhere from around 14 to 21 years. And everything represented by that sign during the time that Pluto is in that sign goes through a long process of transformation. Pluto represents healing, purification, regeneration, power, transformation. Okay, Pluto is like the god of the underworld, and he brings things to light that have been hidden so that change can occur. Now, when we're talking about the sign of Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius is all about society, the masses, humanity, also awakening, change, breakthrough, reform, science and technology. So when we put these two together, we put Pluto and the sign of Aquarius, there's the overriding theme of power to the people. Power to the people. So let's take a look at the last time Pluto was in Aquarius. And for those of you who don't know, for the last 15 years, I've been a full-time homeschooling mom to my 4 kids. And I think that my favorite subject to teach them was history. So I'll be sharing history with you today. But if we take a look at the last time Pluto was in the sign of Aquarius, that was from 1778 through 1798. During that time, we had the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution. Now, during those movements, there was a dismantling of social hierarchies, okay? And there were violent responses to economic disparity. And I just want you to think about the French Revolution for a minute. I want you to think about Marie Antoinette, who was reported to have said, when her people were starving and she was still living a life of financial extravagance, let them eat cake. All right. People were very unhappy with her. They imprisoned her and then they had her executed. Okay. And so there's that theme here of Pluto and Aquarius. Now, I want you to think for just a second about the month of December, this month in the US. Not long after Pluto went into Aquarius, we had that tragic assassination of the CEO of United Healthcare, which again, if you're reading online, you're reading the comments and the feedback of people, brought up the same theme as before. There's a lot of people who are upset about, the 1% that seems to have all the money, and then the others, the masses, that are a little bit disenfranchised. So we're going to see more of an amplification of this theme as we go through the next few years. And, even last week and a little bit this weekend, I was hearing about the whole conflict with Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Trump's base of supporters about HB1 visas. And the underlying premise or issue at that argument, again, has to do with, who is disenfranchised, who's left at the bottom? Are we really working for all people? Okay, so keep watching that theme. It's going to continue to develop. Also, during Pluto and Aquarius, technology will be a huge focal point. There will be a lot of technological breakthroughs. And watch out for more information about other life forms in our universe. This information will be made public. It's been hidden from the public, but during the time that Pluto is in Aquarius, I have a feeling that we are going to learn a lot more about hidden truths of our universe. Okay, so this year, during 2025, Pluto will be stationed from 1 to 3 degrees of Aquarius. So I want you to check your natal chart. I also want you, if you're a parent, check your child's natal chart as well. It is so pivotal that you understand what's going on in your child's life, what's influencing them, what may be going on like within their psyche. And you do that by checking their transits and understanding their natal chart. So check to see if you have anything from 1 to 3 degrees Aquarius, whether it's an angle or a planet, not only Aquarius, but also Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio. If so, Pluto in Aquarius will be making an aspect to either that angle or that planet, and it's important that you understand what's going on. So next, we have Neptune. Neptune's a planet of inspiration, spiritual awareness, creativity, compassion, intuition, and also dissolution. So Neptune tends to stay in a sign for around 14 years. And this upcoming year in 2025, we're going to have Neptune leaving the water sign of Pisces. Now, Neptune is the modern ruler of the sign of Pisces. Jupiter is the traditional ruler, but Neptune's very much at home in Pisces. He rules that sign, okay? He's moving from Pisces into the fire sign of Aries from March 30th, 2025 through October 2025. And then when he goes back into Aries, it's going to be until 2039. Quite a long time. So Neptune, one of the things that Neptune does, Neptune will idealize the sign or aspects of the sign that it's in when it's stationed in that sign. So I want you to think about Neptune in Pisces. for the last few years, since 2011 when Neptune first moved into Pisces. There was really a surge of interest in Piscean activities. And okay, so what are Piscean activities? Things like Reiki, okay, meditation, mediumship, astrology, working with the ancestors, communicating and channeling other beings, okay? Those are all Piscean, and there's been a surge of interest in those areas since Neptune has been in the sign of Pisces. So when we have Neptune move into the sign of Aries, we're going to see another shift, okay? We're going to have another shift. Aries is a fire sign of action, impulse, initiating, bravery, and strength. The last time that Neptune was in Aries was from 1861 through 1875. And that time period coincided with the beginning of the American Civil War, okay? And I don't know if you've done a lot of studying on the Civil War, but at the beginning of the Civil War, there was a lot of idealization about what war would mean. For you Gone with the Wind fans, I'm sure that you will remember the scene where the men are discussing the possibility of going to war, against the Union. And Charles Hamilton makes the comment to Rhett Butler that a Southern gentleman can whip multiple Yankees at a time just because he's a Southern gentleman, right? And there was this whole feeling of wanting to fight for the cause. Wanting to fight for the cause. It was very idealized. But as war continued, the reality of the situation really hit home. A lot of young men, young boys were losing their lives. Now, when we're talking about Neptune, Neptune represents dissolution or dissolving things. War did bring about, the Civil War brought about the dissolution of slavery, of that institution. So from March through October of 2025, we're going to see themes of Neptune and Aries becoming apparent in world events. And exactly how that will show up or manifest, I'm not sure, but I'm anxious to see and looking forward to seeing how Neptune and Aries is going to show up in our modern world today. So check your natal chart for anything in the early degrees of Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. We will also have Saturn move into the sign of Aries from May 24th, 2025 until September 1st, 2025. And when Saturn re-enters Aries, he's going to remain there until April 12th, 2028. So Saturn is the planet of discipline, responsibility, structure, commitment. He's known as the taskmaster of the zodiac. So when Saturn moves into a new sign, he redefines the themes associated with that sign. So on a personal level with Saturn and Aries, you might feel drawn to start a new project or a new venture, or even to step into a leadership position at work. Now, on a collective level, when we're thinking about Saturn and Aries, it can bring difficulty for leaders, political leaders sometimes, if they're not already leading from a place of integrity. So, for example, let's talk history, one of my favorite. Saturn was in Aries in the late 90s when we had Bill Clinton in office as president. And many of you will remember when Bill Clinton was held responsible for some things that he did as president, where he stepped out of integrity, okay? So Saturn and Aries can be a time when we're holding our leaders responsible for their actions. Now, in the middle of 2025, Saturn and Neptune will be within 1 degree of each other. Okay, so they won't be fully conjunct until January 2026, but I'm telling you that 1 degree, within 1 degree of each other, we're still going to really feel the energy of that combination. We've got planet Saturn that represents things that are concrete and known, and then Neptune is all about what's not quite real. And when these two come together, we might feel an urge to really make our dreams manifest, to bring them into reality. Everything that we've been dreaming of, let's make it concrete. Let's bring it to fruition. Okay. And along the same lines, but in a different way, there may be circumstances where it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real. So I'm not sure if any of you have seen videos online, the AI videos, they seem so real, and it's hard to tell sometimes whether it's real or not. So we might be seeing more of that as time goes along. Now, we also have Uranus. Now, Uranus stays in a sign for 7 years. And Uranus will be moving out of the earth sign of Taurus into the air sign of Gemini on July 7th, 2025 through November 7th. And then Uranus will return to Taurus November 7th, 2025 through April 2026. And then after that, he's in Gemini until 2033. So Uranus as a planet can bring unexpected change. It can bring surprises, exciting developments, innovation, and rebellion. And with Uranus moving into the air sign of Gemini, we could see major advances in travel, maybe flying cars, in a few years, major advances in communication, new technology. And for you history lovers like me, you will find it interesting to know that Uranus was in the sign of Gemini when the United States was founded. Okay? So during that time when Uranus was in Gemini, we had the Revolutionary War. The US was founded. And then 84 years later, when Uranus entered Gemini again in the US, we had the Civil War. Okay? And then 84 years later, after that, when Uranus entered Gemini yet again, the US was headed into World War II. Now, I don't want you to fret or worry. This does not mean that the United States is definitely heading to war, that war is inevitable this year. Nope, not in any way whatsoever. What this does mean is that the United States will go through some major process of transformation over the next few years. Okay? It's also interesting, if we think about the Civil War, Lincoln was president at that time. He had to take on a little bit more power during the Civil War, as president. And then during World War II, we're talking about FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, who also had to take on or expand his powers as president during, time of war. So this time we could possibly, not definitely, but could we possibly see or have a president that has to take on a little bit more power than what's already been delegated? I'm not sure. I'm loving, thinking about this, and I can't wait to see how this is going to pan out, how it's going to manifest, since we already know the historical patterns of Uranus and Gemini from the past. Now, okay, so I'm going to go over some important dates. You might want to take out a pen and a piece of paper, and I really want to take my time with this, so I won't have time for a caller today, unfortunately, but I want to make sure that I give all of you this heads up about what's coming. So we will have 3 Mercury retrogrades in 2025, okay? The first one will be from March 15th through April 7th, okay? The second period for Mercury retrograde will be July 18th through August the 18th. And then the final period for Mercury retrograde will be November 8th through November 27th, so right around Thanksgiving. Okay, and as we're talking about Mercury retrograde, I really want to challenge each and every one of you to dismiss the idea that everything has to fall apart for you. Everything has to fall apart and everything has to be chaotic during Mercury retrograde, because it absolutely does not. Okay? Mercury retrograde, that time is good. When we've got a planet moving backwards, it's a really good time to stop and review the aspects that that planet rules. So, for example, during Mercury retrograde, I want you to set the intention to use that time for reflection, reviewing, reorganizing, re-strategizing, revisiting things that you have not yet completed. So when we're talking about reviewing, review how are you communicating to others? How are you communicating with yourself? What are your patterns like? Is there anything that you can shift so that you step into more of your higher potential? Okay. So that's what I want you to use Mercury retrograde for. It's a wonderful time for reviewing and reflecting. Okay. Now we're currently in Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde, I believe, started around December 6th, earlier this month, and we will have Mars retrograde until February 23rd. So, especially at the beginning of the year, okay, and you're probably feeling it now, but all the way through January 3rd, please listen to me. We have Mars retrograde that's going to be opposing Pluto, exactly. Okay, and these are two powder kegs together. This can be a very volatile transit if we're not managing our anger and frustration appropriately and constructively. So I want you to make sure that you are using the energy at your disposal during this time in a very intentional and conscious way, starting today all the way through January 3rd. Use this surplus of energy instead for constructive activities. Go for a run. Start a workout regimen. Go lift weights, or do something where it feels like you're actually meeting your goals, or you're going towards your goals and your ambitions. Use that energy in that way constructively instead of destructively. Okay. Please be very, very mindful of that over the next few days. It's a lot of energy that you'll have at your disposal, and if it's misused in any way whatsoever, you can come across as overly aggressive with the people around you. And you can start needless conflicts that just are not necessary if we're managing the energy in a very intentional and conscious way. So set the intention to remain grounded. Really check in with yourself over the next few days. If you feel a little bit amped up, take a deep breath. It's okay. We will also have Venus retrograding from March 1st through April the 12th, 2025. So Venus retrograde, remember Venus is the planet that rules our how we relate to others, our relating principles, the people that we're drawn to, the people that are drawn to us, what we find beautiful in the world, what we find aesthetically pleasing, okay? So Venus retrograde is a really good time, super time to review relationship patterns and to think about and redefine what you want and what you expect in your relationships and in your friendships. What type of friend do you want to be to others? What type of friend do you want to draw and magnetize toward yourself? What will the rapport look like? Ask yourself and think about all of these. It's also a great time to redefine your value system. What are your values? I can't tell you how helpful it is. Go to Google and just type in a list of values, a sample list of values, and all of these lists will come up sometimes like with 50 words. Go through the words and pick out your top 5 values. Those values will be like a compass to you. And if you're ever in a situation and you don't know what to do, like for example, one of my values is integrity. If I'm ever in a situation and I'm not quite sure what to do, I always think about, okay, I value integrity. Is this an integrity? If I take this action, will I be in integrity? Will I be in alignment with my higher self? That's incredibly helpful. And that's an even more helpful exercise to do with your children, especially adolescents and teens. I did it with all of my children. So Think about that, parents. And also redefine what you're passionate about. So Venus retrograde can be a positive point, turning point for relationships. Think about what you want. We have 4 very significant eclipses coming up in 2025. March 14th, there will be a total lunar eclipse at 23 degrees of Virgo. March 29th, we'll have a new moon, partial solar eclipse, 8 degrees of Aries. September 7th, full moon, total lunar eclipse, 15 degrees of Pisces. And September 21st, a partial solar eclipse at 28 degrees of Virgo. Do you have, check your natal chart for you and your child, do you have any angle or planet, especially Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, at 23 or 28 degrees of Virgo, at 8 degrees of Aries, or 15 degrees of Pisces? If so, then you will have an eclipse that will occur at that angle or planet in your chart, and eclipses mark major beginnings and endings in our lives. So it's very important that you understand, okay, how is this going to impact me? What area of life? Which house is it showing up in? So that you have a heads up on how to use the energy intentionally. Okay, so for this year, it looks like the middle of March, early April, that's where we've got some significant events that will occur in world events, but please just make sure that you stay grounded in your own personal energy. And I have a message that was given to me by my guides, and I want to share it with all of you. I am a trance medium, and I do channel from my guides, and this is what they gave me for the upcoming year. No matter what obstacles befall you, remember, there's always a gift within each challenge. That gift is the ability to transform and to redefine yourself according to the highest potential of your being. Set your sights on becoming the best version of yourself. Use the energy at your disposal mindfully this year. Utilize the assistance from those of us in spirit. We are at your disposal and we wish to serve. Be well. Be mindful, be joyful. The best is yet to come. And this is the message that I leave you all with for the upcoming year. I hope you have a happy holiday tomorrow. I always want you to remember that the stars may guide us, but we hold the power to shape our destiny. So keep shining bright, keep radiating your light. And until I see you here next time in 2025, I wish you love, joy, peace, happiness, everything wonderful in the world. Have a good day.